layer is mostly rock? Which layer is mostly rock? Kason, which layer is mostly rock?
Bedrock.
Bedrock. Bedrock is made up of rock. Which layer of soil has the most nutrients? Has the most nutrients. Oh, do not unmute yourself unless I call on you. Tony, which one has the most nutrients?
Subsoil.
Topsoil. And who can tell me one thing they remember about subsoil? Who can tell me one thing they remember about subsoil? One thing they remember about subsoil. One thing you remember about subsoil. Holly, what's one thing you remember about subsoil?
It's called something like rich.
Okay. So that would be the topsoil is our thin, rich layer. Okay. So what about subsoil? Walter, remember that's the one that's in the middle.
That subsoil has the most minerals.
It does have a lot of minerals. Okay. What is subsoil made up of, Bella?
Clay. It's made out of sand, silt, and clay.
It is made out of sand, silt, and clay. And did the subsoil have a lot of nutrients for plant growth? Does subsoil contain a lot of nutrients for plant growth, Grace?
No.
No, it doesn't. Which one of my layers of soil, which one has the no nutrients? It has none at all. If anything lived down there, it would die. None at all. If anything lived down, oh, I probably kind of gave you the answer. If anything lived down there, it would die. Isabella, which one is it?
Bedrock.
Bedrock. If anything lived down there in bedrock, it would die, right? So we know that our bedrock, nothing can live down there. So we're going to now add, okay, we're going to add another 2 layers to our layers of soil. Okay, we're going to add another 2 layers to our layers of soil. So if you can get out your notebook for me, we're going to add 2 more layers to our soil.
I know one of the layers.
Oh, shh. Oh, shh. We're not sharing yet. We're going to talk about it first. All right, so once you have your notebook out, we're adding 2 more layers, okay? We're kind of going to go a little deeper into our layers. So let's see. We have this very, very top layer right here, okay? This very top dark brown layer. This very top dark brown layer. This is called the humus. This is called the humus. So that very, very top dark brown layer is called the humus. That very top layer is called the humus.
Michelle, it's humus to plants.
Okay. No, but it's humus.
I know.
It's humus. So I want to make sure we're not calling it hummus, because I call it hummus and I'm going to keep calling it that. And that's condiment. So the humus is made up of, so actually Grace was the one that told me this yesterday, that topsoil has decomposed dead plants and animals in it. Well, those decomposed plants and animals are actually found in the humus, okay? They're found in this top layer. because once like this grass dies, it breaks down into this top layer of soil. And then eventually it'll keep going and it'll keep breaking down all the way until it gets to bedrock. And then it'll become rock, okay? So, but it starts up here in this top area. So this is where you're gonna find the most decomposed plants and animals. So we're gonna say made up of decomposed, or I'm gonna put dead so y'all know what that means. Plants and animals. And that's a little and sign that I put right there. That's the and sign. So the humus is made up of humus. Walter's got me saying humus. The humus is made up of decomposed dead plant and animals. Okay, or decomposed plants and animals. So that is the humus.
It's humus. When are we gonna add the other layers?
Oh, we'll do it in a second. We're getting there. We're getting there. We're not there yet. We're getting there. We're getting there. Okay, so then my next one is going to be, so we're going to draw just a little bit, and then I'm going to draw an arrow actually. So this is my parent material, okay? It's this little area where I told y'all it's not completely made up of rocks. The rocks are kind of, they aren't as big yet, right? So it's not completely made up of rocks. You still have some space in between. So that is the parent material. That is your parent material. So your parent material is mostly rock that has only been slightly weathered down, okay? It's mostly rock that has been slightly weathered down, meaning it hasn't formed into this big piece yet. Because notice how this is a big, dark piece of rock. These are not. These are still little individual pieces of rock. So it hasn't completely broken down yet and become one big piece of rock. So our parent material is littler pieces of rock. So it's rock that has not completely broken down. A rock that has not completely broken down. Okay, or you can put weathered. You could also put, yeah, we'll leave that. Sounds good. So if it's not completely broken down yet, you still have these little spaces in here. We know that nothing can survive down here. Nothing lives down here. Nothing could survive. But do you think that you would maybe have a few different, like maybe some insects that might try and live down here in these little spaces between the rocks? Bella, what do you think? You think maybe you could have some insects that might live down here in between these spaces?
Yes, because there is some room.
So you probably could because there is some room, right? There's a little bit of room there. So not many things live down here. So not many, meaning there are some things that will live down here. So I'm going to put not many, okay? And I want you to underline that, not many, meaning you will have some insects that might try and live down there. Okay, so remember that means you don't necessarily have a lot of stuff living down there, but you're gonna have a few insects or bugs. It's mostly gonna be insects and bugs that are gonna try and live down there because there is space in between these rocks. They're trying to wiggle their way in there. But it's going to be your bugs that maybe don't need as many nutrients, that don't need like soil.
Giant roots can make it down there, right?
Huh?
Giant roots can make it down to bedrock, right?
No, you couldn't have roots make it down to bedrock. You could have, well, not this, but like not this one, but you could have a few that might make it down here, but they're not going to survive long if they make it down there.
But what if they got past the topsoil and then they got past the subsoil?
Then they probably would die at that point because they're probably not going to live long in this layer because there's not any nutrients. There's only like literally maybe, so like let's just say, okay, I'm going to put this in math terms. We have 100% of nutrients, okay? We have 100%. We have 100 nutrients in here. Mm-hmm. This one I may get like 75. Okay, I have some, not a lot, but I have about 75, maybe 50. 50 to 75. Well, in this little gray part, I have about maybe 10% or about 10. And then in this gray, I have 0. There's none. So if you get something that makes it all the way down here, it's not going to live very long.
But like in the subsoil, there's much more minerals down there.
Well, no, that's not saying. The subsoil has about 50 to 75%, but the topsoil has more.
Minerals?
It has more nutrients, not minerals, nutrients.
But plants also need minerals to survive.
They do. And topsoil has minerals. Subsoil does have more because it's made up of sand, silt, and clay. But our topsoil has more nutrients.
Okay.
Okay. So, does this make sense? Are we good? Do we have any more questions about that? Any more? Okay. Okay,